Welcome to the JCPod, partner with Stay On Sports. I'm your host, Jaden Chandler Parnell, and man, it's time, man. We're about 50-ish days away till the NFL, so you know what that means. Time to do a quick little breakdown. So, what that means is, today, we're going to do a division breakdown, and you see it up top. We got the AFC South. Before I get in, I want to apologize. Thursday, there wasn't too much to talk about, and I also kind of had some stuff going on, so very last minute, I just decided we weren't going to do an episode today. We'll just finish up some of the preparing I'm doing, and we'll focus on our breakdowns. So yeah, that's why I pretty much didn't pop on Thursday. So we'll go back to 2 this week. Shout out to my boy Rowan. His birthday is next week. We might have him on Monday, Tuesday. That I might be recording Monday, Tuesday. Comes out Wednesday. Gotta figure that out. Cause yeah, if not, he's going to be coming on here soon. Talk a little WNBA, a little MLB. But that's, like I said, that's either Wednesday next week, or that's 2-3 weeks from now. We got to figure it out. But happy early birthday to my boy, who's going to be celebrating that shit next week. So like I said, we got division breakdowns today. If we have time, I'll go over the NFL news at the end. If not, I'll cover a lot of this NFL news Thursday. There's not too much to talk about. There's a little bit of like Brandon Ayuk news, a little bit of small stuff in the NFL going on here and there. Nothing too crazy. I think we should pretty much just go right into the NFL. The NFL division breakdown, because it's just lots of information. For example, this one does kind of matter. The Cleveland Browns signed Dustin Hopkins to a 3-year, $15.9 million deal. Huge signing for them because he made 33 or 36 kicks last year in his first season with the Browns. He made 24 or 26 extra points. When you got a kicker that doesn't miss, it's good to keep on them, because his kicking's like it's like a streak. It's not totally streaky, but it definitely can be streaky. If you're hot, some kickers, if they're hot, they're super hot, they won't miss. If you miss 1 or 2, all of a sudden 3 or 4, then 5 or 6. So it can become a tailspin. So that was some decent big news. But they talk for example, Ayuk requested a trade from the 49ers and made a stalled contract. He already announced he was going to do that before, but so I guess we're doing a little bit of NFL news first. Screw it. Before we do the breakdown, we'll just hop in the NFL news, because I guess, like I said, there's not too much to talk about. So we'll just burn through some quick things, and then if I miss anything, we'll touch on it Thursday. But yeah, like I said, Ayuk has officially requested a trade from them. The 49ers have already came out and pretty much said to the teams that have contacted them, we aren't trading him. It's not happening. So at least this kind of goes with T. Higgins as well. I for sure think Ayuk and T. Higgins will be on their teams this year. Next year, T. Higgins, I think, is for sure gone. I would be shocked if he's a Bengal next year. And then, because I believe he's the only one who hasn't signed his franchise tag. Or excuse me, he's the only one who's signed his franchise tag that hasn't signed a long-term deal. So I assume he's going to be gone. But like I said, we've already heard this stuff from Brandon Ayuk, so it's not too shocking. Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson is going to be he's going to receive the Pride of the Lions honor at Ford Field. For those of you who don't know, Pride of the Lions is a name that will permanently put his name on display at Ford Field. Johnson will become the 21st member of the Pride of the Lions during halftime of Monday Night Football on September 30th against the Pittsburgh Steelers. As the team president, Rod Wood, came out and said, his commitment on the field and to the city of Detroit are legendary, and this is a well-deserved honor. We are proud that he will forever be memorialized inside of Ford Field, a Detroit Lion. Number 2 overall pick in 2007, retired in 2015 at the age of 30. In 2021, he joined Jim Brown and Gale Sayers as the only Pro Football Hall of Famers that are inducted at 35 years old or younger. So, 35. Insane. He was glitchy. Calvin Johnson was absolutely glitchy, damn near, with everything he does. You can see the photos. You can see the photos online of him getting double teamed at the goal line. You can see everything about it. So awesome. The Lions are finally gonna. Sorry, I had to make sure I read something right. But no, it's really awesome that they're finally recognizing Calvin Johnson doing stuff right, because the Lions of old, this wouldn't be a thing. But the new Lions, doing stuff like this, truly awesome. I think this is helping out with all the bad juju they've had for years and years of what they did wrong. I'm a guy who believes, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff that I do believe in, don't believe in, all that. Karma's definitely a thing I believe in. Even if it's not totally karma itself, and the idea of karma, it's the idea of karma. We're good vibes, good intentions, all that stuff. You put out good vibes, good intentions, all that stuff in the universe, you usually receive it back. I mean, sometimes, obviously, yes, you can put good and bad will come back. But for the most part, if you're going out of your way to do good things, you're doing good things, not just for, like, I hope somebody recognizes me, but you're doing it for the aspect of being good. Usually you'll get paid back, and you saw what happened. The Lions have been better about doing stuff with the old regime. They've honestly had better coaching situations and all that as well, but a lot has turned out for the good for the Lions, and this is just another part of it, is having Calvin Johnson be part of the pride of the Lions. I don't think that you could find a single person that says he doesn't deserve this honor, honestly. So shout out to him. Vikings receiver Jordan Addison. Sorry, I was trying to read something else while saying his name. Jordan Addison is arrested on suspension DUI. Apparently, officers found the former USC Trojan asleep behind the wheel while blocking the lane on the freeway near Los Angeles Airport. We are aware of Jordan Addison's arrest, and past Friday we're currently gathering more information. This just comes at a horrible, horrible time. For example, last year he was clocked and going 140 miles per hour and speeding down, I believe it was a highway as well. But also along with this, I mean, shit, the Vikings just had somebody die because of a car crash. And just stupid shit. Like I said, I don't know who exactly was the one who was driving under the influence and crash that killed the Vikings young cornerback, but it's just very, very inappropriate and horrible timing. So he's probably going to get suspended, I would assume. Especially if this takes a while, he might get suspended for a game or two next year. I don't know if it's totally going to affect this year, but now it's starting to become a problem because now he's gotten in trouble with cars twice, one while speeding, one now with the DUI. And it really, really sucks. I think Jordan Addison is a very young and talented receiver, so just seeing shit like this, it's like, come on, man, figure your shit out, because he has so much potential, so much promise just to do dumb shit like this. It's just not smart, man. Jacoby Jones passed away at the age of 40. This is super, super sad. Apparently, there's still been no immediate announcement of cause of death as of right now from what I've seen. He pretty much died around family. He said he died peacefully in his sleep, which is really, really sad. It makes you truly wonder what did happen to him. I have yet to find any real information, but dying at the age of 40, as a former NFL player, immediately, like I said, I'm not trying to do anything or be anything like that. Immediately my mind goes to concussions and everything, but you think about it, it's like, I don't remember him having issues with concussions or anything, so it's just super sad, honestly. You really, really hate to see it. Like I said, there's still nothing really out on what the cause of death was, but man, rest in peace, Jacoby Jones. I'll never forget that kick return during the Super Bowl. That was one of the... Jacoby Jones, for me, I don't remember him very much on the Texans playing against the Colts, I'll admit. Most of my memories come from him. This might show my age a little bit, too. But most of it comes from him on the Ravens and everything, and all the work he did with the Ravens, especially the Super Bowl return. The Super Bowl kickoff return was one of the few things I remember. That's going to be one of the few football memories that, to the day I die, I remember seeing. Because that was when... what year was that? Like 2012. So that was one of the very first years where I, for a majority of the season, watched football. Because I'll admit, up to, high school, I watched football, but I didn't watch it like that. I could be I'll watch a few games here and there. I keep up with the Colts and what they're doing and all that. But, I'm, watching highlights at school sometimes, watching this. I'm not actually sitting there watching full-on games until that was about sophomore year of high school. Sophomore year of high school, I started doing that a little bit. Started watching more games, actually sitting there and doing that stuff. So, anything before, I would say about 2014, 2015 was about when I officially would say I started watching almost every game of every single season so I could actually, tell the full story of a season. Because before that, I'd be just telling, bits and pieces. I remember the Cardinals-Steelers Super Bowl. I remember bits and pieces of that season. So, just that's going to be one of the things I'll never forget is Jacoby Jones' return touchdown in the Super Bowl, because I remember being a big Ravens fan at the time just because I loved Ray Lewis. I was still a Colts fan, don't get me wrong, 100% a Colts fan through and through, but at the time I was supporting the Ravens because I genuinely did like Ray Lewis and all that, and then I learned it was his final year and everything. I was like, I'm going to root for the Ravens, and sure enough they won, but yeah, that Jacoby Jones return touchdown, something I'll never ever forget in my life. But, like I said, Higgins not expected to sign an extension before tag deadline. I'm pretty sure that's passed. Yeah, like I said, I don't see him being a Bengal next year. Seems like they're going to let him go. Kyle Juszczyk prioritized staying with 49ers despite being hurt by a pay cut. He had to swallow his pride when the franchise asked him to take a pay cut. Niners cleared nearly $4 million in cap space after Juszczyk agreed to amend his contract. He still remains the highest paid player at the position. Mind you, there aren't, I don't think, many fullbacks even left in the NFL, but he's earning $4.5 million. I don't know how much they cut off. I'm assuming it's just like a couple thousand. But Eric Armstead got released when he did decline to pay cut. We'll be talking about him here in a minute, teaser. So not too shocking that Juszczyk probably saw this and be like, okay, I'll do it. But to be fair, with how old he is and I mean, like, it's just one of the situations. He knows he's not going to get a shit ton of money. He's very, very rival with them. They know how valuable he is to them, but it's one of the situations where it's like, hey, don't get us wrong. We love you. We know you're valuable. You know you're valuable to us, but it's like, we aren't paying you that much money. At the same time, he's also fullback, so it's the same thing. It's like, hey, we will. It's probably one of the situations where they're like, hey, we will replace. Don't get us wrong. We want to keep you around, but we will replace you if you don't accept this deal. So good for him for accepting the deal. Mayfield appreciates the Bucs not treating him like dirty laundry. That definitely has some sting to it because of what the Browns said to him, I bet. You're having a lot more fun when you're not getting shipped off to different places like a piece of dirty laundry, I'll tell you that. He said, so when I got embraced in Tampa, it made a world of difference. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. It's crazy because, yeah, I think him saying it with how good he played in Tampa, it kind of did save his career because it felt like if he didn't get shit right in Tampa, that the Baker Mayfield experiment was probably going to come to an end. Aaron Rodgers says Achilles feel good ahead of training camp. Apparently Adam Thielen wanted to join the Chiefs in free agency, but apparently the Chiefs had no interest in him, which is interesting. I wonder why this got brought up. I just wonder. I mean, I get why they probably didn't want him because he's older, but I genuinely wonder why that got brought up. Shout out to Devontae Adams as well. All the stuff that's coming out in the wide receiver. Wild. Learning just some of the stuff from the receiver, whatever you call it, receiver series on Netflix. By the way, funny thing, I need to talk to my boy Rowan about this. Lion, St. Brown, Troll's brother, no one on Saints expects to win a Super Bowl title. If you ask my boy Rowan, he would say that is 100% true. It's 100% true because, boy, he is not. I think the Saints are going to finish. We can talk about it more when we do that, when we do the Saints division, but I think the Saints are probably going to finish very, very mediocre. 7-10, 8-9, 9-8. I don't see them winning 10 games, but I also don't see them losing more. I don't see them not winning more than like 6-ish games. So they're going to be somewhere between the 6 and 10 win range is my guess. This, by the way, speaking of the Miami Dolphins, Tyreek came out and said Tua should be among the NFL's highest paid quarterbacks. Love that he's endorsing his guy. Love that. Like I said, I love that he's endorsing his guy. I love that he's standing by his teammate. But yet again with the Dolphins, another thing where all I see is money, 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 money. Which sucks because they have a legit chance to be like legitimate in their division, but we'll have to see. Their division's gonna be tough. I can't wait to break it down. I think it's one of the hardest divisions. They have a real chance to win it. They just gotta kind of like lock it down. I think they have one of the best teams all around. When you look at their division, like if you went position by position group across the board, I think the Dolphins are up there with one of the best, even with my complaints they have on the defensive side. They still have a really, really good team, no matter what. Apparently, Monte Kiffin, the co-architect of the Tampa 2 defense, dies at 84. Like I said, he was one of the architects of the Tampa 2 defensive scheme, along with Tony Dungy and John Gruden, which, I mean, I don't need to say anything. You play Madden, you see Tampa 2 in there. Yeah, so this is one of the creators. Shout out to him. Yeah, I think that's good about to do it. Let's move on now to... I guess it kind of worked out. Yeah, we'll move on to now the division breakdown. So, yeah, that's all the news. Like I said, there wasn't too much I want to talk about. There was some things I did want to bring up. I was trying to hold it. I was trying to hold off and not do the news and just do the straight breakdown. But we'll, like I said, there's just not too much to talk about, so I at least want to talk a little bit. We'll throw, if there's any more news that comes out, I'll throw it in with the breakdown we do Thursday, which I haven't decided yet what other AFC... I'm kind of between the North, East, and West. No, I think I'm kind of between the West and the North, truthfully. I might do the West this week just because the West, I think, is going to be a slightly bit more simpler than the North. And so I might save the North and East for next week. But how the division breakdowns are going to go, because we're doing the AFC South today. How the division is going to go, we're going to go over the record they had last year, the new additions they brought in this year, along with like maybe some injury news. Like, for example, for the Colts situation. The Colts... quarterback's the same. Anthony Richardson tells you this year, so I might bring up talking about Anthony Richardson, how he's looking healthier and better this year. So like the record, new additions, I'm going to go over their schedule, pretty much what the team schedule is looking like. For other teams, I will say their strength of schedule, like, it ranks this way versus, like, the Titans schedule. It's like the 32nd easiest schedule in the NFL, stuff like that. I'll just admit, I didn't write it down for any of the teams yet so far because I just kind of thought about it at the top of my head. That might not be a bad thing to add. Like, hey, this team has the 5th easiest schedule. This team has the 3rd easiest schedule. Like I said, didn't add that, so I'm probably going to add it for next time. I'm going to do my predictions for how I think this division is going to pull out, and then along with the predictions, I'll talk about my bets. It's pretty simple. Record, new additions, schedule, along with how easy or hard the schedule is, but not this week, next week, or next time, since I forgot to write it down. And then my predictions and bets for each team. And then pretty much I'm going to go down this for each team. So, for example, for the Titans, it's going to be record, new addition, schedule, prediction, and bets. Jags, blah, 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 blah. Texans, blah, blah, blah. Colts, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be just like that. So, like I said, without any further ado, let's hop in with the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans are going to come in. I think it's kind of hilarious. I kind of wrote this in reverse order of how I see the division. So I guess it works out. Titans finished 6-11 last year. They are going to have some new faces around. They got rid of Mike Vrabel. They got rid of Derrick Henry. I believe they got rid of a kicker as well. I believe there's another position they got. Sorry, I got distracted by reading something. I apologize. But yeah, the Titans are going to be. This is probably the first new. This is a new look at the new Titans, pretty much. Like that, no Vrabel, no Derrick Henry. Those have been the two of the big faces around the Tennessee Titans. No Ryan Tannehill. I assume as well. Those are some of the bigger faces that have been around the Titans for the longest time. So looking at that, like I said, they got new coaches. So obviously they have a hold the running back, new coach. They got some new additions this season as well, which I think potentially, if their quarterback situation was slightly better, I would say. By the way, I'm going to go down the 2 deep. I might go over the 2 deep real quick as well for teams. I don't know though still because obviously so much stuff to change. Like injury could happen, all that. So we'll keep it up in the air. But Calvin Ridley, he joins DeAndre Hopkins, so those are going to be the 2 wide receivers. I'm assuming the number 1 and number 2. But the fact that Calvin Ridley, I think, was a really, really good signing by them. Tony Pollard was another guy that signed 3-year, $24 million deal. I don't think that's a bad signing at all. Lloyd Cushenberry at center was a signing. Sebastian Joseph Day. Nick Westbrook-Akine. They got Mason Rudolph from the Steelers. They got Nick Folk. I don't know if that's I think it's a re-signing. So some of these might have re-signings in here as well. They weren't totally... the article I'm pulling this from wasn't fully clear on if these are all just like free agents or if it's free agents and re-signings. They also got Kenneth Murray, a linebacker, Chidobe Awuzie, a cornerback. I don't think there's any other really like big names that people would know, unless you're like Titans like diehard. You might recognize 1 or 2 of these names. But that's pretty much the new additions they got this year. Like I said, this one will be a little bit easier of a breakdown because I just don't see too much going on with the Titans this year. Like I said, we'll go over it. So now we're going to go to their schedule real quick. We kind of talked about the new people they got. I don't know. Will Levis. It's all going to be on Will Levis this year, so I'm not fully sold on Will Levis yet. So I'm going to want to see a little bit more. Looking at the schedule, opening week 1, they got they go to Chicago against the Bears. Week 2, they're home against the Jets. Then week 3, home against the Packers. 4 is at Miami against the Dolphins. They got a week 5 bye. That is horrendous. I know the NFL. I forget how the NFL does it when it comes to bye weeks. If it's just randomized, kind of, where it's like, oh, this team's gonna get a bye week, or if they do it based on like their predictions of you or whatever or whatnot. But week 5 bye is pretty much like my eyes. Like, yeah, we don't expect too much from you. So here's our bye early in the season. Hope it doesn't screw you up for too much. Week 5 bye is horrendous, though. You do not want to be the team that starts off their season with the bye that early. Usually, they play home against the Colts week 6. They go to the Bills week 7. I guess I actually don't know what week that'd be at this point because of the bye. Oh. Week 7 at the Bills. It says it right under there. I'm stupid. Week 8 at the Lions. Week 9 they play the Patriots at home. Week 10 they go to LA against the Chargers. Next, it's home against the Vikings, away at the Texans, away at the Commanders, home versus the Jags, home versus the Bengals. They go to the Colts, go to the Jaguars, and then they return back home to end the season versus the Texans. Looking through the schedule realistically, if we're just going to burn through this without like going too deep into stuff, Maybe they can beat the Bears. I will give them, for the benefit of the doubt, they're going to Chicago, so I'll give Chicago just that little bit of edge. So say Chicago wins 0-1, 0-2 to the Jets, 0-3 to the Packers. They have a chance to start 0-4. I think potentially they lose to the Dolphins as well. I'll give them a win against the Colts just to be optimistic. I genuinely think they're going to get swept by the Colts this year, personally. We'll talk about that when I talk about the Colts. But if we're looking at best record potential, maybe they beat the Bears. I think maybe they beat the Colts. There's 2 wins. I don't see them beating the Bills or the Lions. Maybe can beat the Patriots. There's 3. Could potentially beat the Vikings. There's 4. Maybe split against the Texans. There's 5. Split against the Jaguars. There's 6. At Commanders, I could maybe see them winning that game. There's 7. And then past that, say maybe, just maybe, they split with the Texans. There's 8. But like I said, I don't see them splitting with the Texans. So there's 7 wins. I genuinely see the Colts beating them. I think both times this year. There's 6. I don't see this team getting more than 6 wins. Their over/under win total, I believe, is just at 6.5, which is the case. I will be taking the under. I think this is a 7-8. I think this is at best a 7-8 to win, or 7-8 win team. I do not see how this team is going to get over 7 to 8 wins. It's just not. It's just one of the. I think they're just taking a step forward into the next year, or not. Damn near not even taking a step forward in the next year. Might even be into future years, maybe a year past that. I just think there's a lot more building that this Tennessee Titans team has to do, especially because I don't like how they got rid of Vrabel. Don't like the move at all. But you can kind of see the writing on the wall when they were starting to clean house and everything. I just don't mess with that move, man. Like I said, Super Bowl, I don't think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender when it comes to some of these bets and everything. We're going to just look at the win total because, yeah, I don't think I personally any bets for the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans win total over-unders at 6.5. Their under 6.5 is -134. I lean under. If I was going to bet, I would take the under 6.5 wins. I genuinely think this is I think it's going to be a 6-11 team again like last year. I don't see how they replace Vrabel, get rid of Derrick Henry, get rid of what they did. Don't get me wrong, they had some good additions. I think the offense could be slightly bit better. I just don't know what we got of Will Levis. I'm not fully sold on Will Levis. I think he still has the potential to be okay, but I'm just, like I said, not fully sold. So 6.5, -134 for under 6.5 win. That's a little bit of a lean for me. Because that's about leads in, like I said, with my prediction is I think they're going to win about 6-ish games. We kind of went over some of their wins. I think they can beat the Commanders. I think they can maybe split with the Jaguars. I think they can beat the Vikings and Patriots. There's 4. Maybe they split with the Colts. There's 5. But they can potentially beat the Bears. There's their 6th win. You can find 6 wins in their schedule. That's just being super optimistic. I'll try to do this with most teams. But Titans overall, like I said, I don't think I need to go too deep in the Titans. I think this is almost like a year moving into next year. Starting quarterback wise, I think it's gonna be Will Levis, backed up by Mason Rudolph. Third string could be Malik Willis. I just don't know. I'm not a fan of their quarterback situation. Running back situation isn't much better. Tajay Spears really didn't separate himself too much last year, so that's why they got Tony Pollard. I just don't. But if you also go to the receiver group, they also picked up Tyler Boyd, which is a pretty good pickup, I think, as well. I forgot to mention that during the the new guys portion. But new additions portion. I just don't think the Titans are going to be that good this year. My final prediction for them is 4th in the AFC South. I think they're going to win about 6.5 games. I think they win 6 games. I don't even think there's going to be a half. If it goes to 7 games, I won't lie, heartbreaking. The thing that's going to suck is if they win 3 division games, because I'm projecting them to win 1, maybe 2 division games. If they win more than 1 to 2, then my prediction is going to be way off. But I like that. I just don't see them winning too many games this year. I can't say that more than enough. I just think they have some more roster moves to make. I'm not fully sold on the roster. I don't think they are either. I think this team is by far one of the weaker Tennessee Titans teams I've seen personally over my last few years of watching this team. If you go back to even the Marcus Mariota teams, just a few years ago, I think some of those teams are better than what they got right now. So, yeah, like I said, I just don't think I see the Titans winning more than 6 games. So I think they're going to finish last in the division. So, next that brings us to another team where I'm not too sold on their quarterback, but I'm at least sold on him a little bit more than Will Levis. And that is the Jacksonville Jaguars, as my boy Rowan loves to say. Let me do it one more time for my boy Rowan. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Last year they finished 9-8. Very a horrendous collapse of the season last year. Doug Peterson's come out and talked about it a little bit. I want to say they lost 6 of their last 7. It was something disgusting. I'm going to relook up their schedule because I can't remember. But it was ugly. They literally lost majority of their games. Let's see. Why did oh my gosh. I was so confused. I'm like, why is it showing me the Jets? It's because it keeps autocorrecting, that's why. I was trying to look up the Jags schedule, so I don't have to type out Jacksonville, but apparently I gotta type out Jacksonville. Well, yeah, I think... Can I just see their damn schedule, please? Thank you. I won't lie, that took way too long to pull up. Let's see. So they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their last 6. The only win being a 26-0 win against Carolina, which at that point in the season, Carolina wasn't much of anything. They were set up in a really, really good spot. Coming out of the bye too, they only won 3 of their last. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They won 3 of their last 9 coming out of the bye, which is not what you want to do. And I'm not gonna say it's all in Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence's mediocre play, to put it, kind of is what put him in the spot. They just didn't have too good of an end of the season. Like I said, they lost all those games. They just it was just a mix of things. It was just between, 1 week the defense wasn't playing well. Then the next week the offense was playing lights out, and then the defense wasn't playing well. It was just crazy because if you remember at the beginning of the season, the Jags were looking dominant. They were looking like that team that was in the playoffs last year that maybe could have beat 2 years ago, that maybe could have beat the Chiefs if they were just able to keep the streak going a little bit longer and stay a little bit hotter, but they weren't able to. Which then led into last year, which, like I said, they started off really, really well. They started off, what is that? 6-1, 6-2, and then finished 9-8. Just absolute horrendous fall off. And then going into this season, they have a few new additions. I think actually are some pretty good moves they did make. They signed Eric Armstead. I thought that was a really, really good move on their part. They got Gabe Davis to replace Calvin Ridley. They got Mitch Morris, 2 Buffalo Bills player, which are really good. Ezra Cleveland, really, really good guard signed. Darnell Savage. They signed as well. They added Joey Sly. They added Dearness Johnson. And I think they just re-signed him because I believe he's on their team already. Ronald Darby, they signed. Devin Duvernay. Actually, I don't know who that is. Never mind. Sorry. I thought it was... I was about to say the wrong name. So that kind of goes through the the big signings for the Jaguars. Now looking at their schedule a little bit with... Mix their roster, see if there's name I missed. Mac Jones, another name they signed in free agency. So he's going to be, I would assume, the RB2. Or, sorry, RB2. That boy got wheels. The QB2. RB2 is probably, I think, maybe Tank Bigsby behind Travis Etienne. But apparently, from what I've seen, Tank Bigsby is not doing himself any favors to separate himself into the number 2 role. Past that, though, there's a lot of people that... They have a lot to go through when it comes to, wide receivers... shit. They got a shit ton of pass catchers to go through and everything with roster cuts and everything. So I don't know if we're going to see all these names I just read off to you, wide receiver wise there, but for sure I would assume Gabe Davis is going to be there. I would assume that... who was that name I just saw? I'm assuming Gabe Davis will be there. I'm assuming Devin Duvernay will be there. Evan Ingram for sure will be there. Christian Kirk most likely would be there. But past that, that's when you get into the Denzel Mims, Jalen Moore, Josh Peterson, which is the coach's son. You get into some of these names where it's I wouldn't be too shocked if these guys aren't there. Like I said, oh yeah, and by the way, when it comes to the Titans, I have no bets for them, no futures or anything. I don't see anything with that team that has me yes, I want to bet on that. There's absolutely nothing that I have any interest in betting on the Titans. The Jags, I might have 1 or 2 things I need to double check. Most of my bets when it comes to this division are going to be more of Colts and Texans related, because I believe those are the 2 teams of the future for the next 2 to 3 seasons. Obviously the Jags I think have a chance, but for the Jags it comes down to Trevor Lawrence. They paid Trevor Lawrence a shit ton of their money. He's their guy for the next 5 years. Everything's going to come down to him, and one of my biggest issues with the Jags is I think that Trevor Lawrence is beyond mediocre, and there's nothing mediocre compared to the NFL quarterback. I think he's a really, really... If you go any quarterback in the world, I think he's one of the top 100. I think he's very, very talented, one of the best quarterbacks in the world. Now we go to the NFL. I would say he's more. I would definitely say he's in the top half of the league, but I'm not going to put him in the top half of that half. I just think he makes way too many mistakes. When it throws over the middle, I think his middle accuracy has had issues at times. There's still throws I can see in my head that are 15 yards away, a guy wide open in the end zone, and he throws it 300 feet over his head for whatever reason. I could not tell you why he did it, but he just completely sails it. So that's going to be the biggest thing I'm watching when it comes to Trevor Lawrence is I expect him to be a little bit better. I want him to be a little bit better, and I want a little bit more from him. But it's starting to get to the point, it's like, man, he's been in the league a few years now, so it's starting to get to that point. Like, I know Urban Meyer messed him up that first year, but is there still growing that Trevor Lawrence can do, or is he a certain guy now? Like I said, I still think he's a good quarterback. I won't lie to you. If he was I would definitely take him. Not over Anthony Richardson at this point, no. Even because I think that Anthony Richardson might have. I think potential-wise, Anthony Richardson could do more than Trevor can just because of the fact that Anthony Richardson can move with his legs and the fact that he has a whole mobile aspect to his game. I love Trevor Lawrence's durability. I love how tough he plays, but there's just times in games where he does stuff where it's. I know everyone does this, but with him especially, there's just times where Trevor Lawrence goes through this shit, and it's like, are you sure you're the number one pick in the draft, or you were? Well, like I said, we're going to go through the schedule real quick. Week 1, they play the Dolphins. Week 2, it's Browns. Week 3, it's at Buffalo. Then at Texans for Week 4. Week 5, it's home versus Indy. Week 6, it's at the Bears. Week 7 versus the Patriots. Week 8 versus Packers. Week 9, at Eagles. Week 10 versus Vikings. Week 11, at Lions. Week 12 bye. That's a really, really good bye for them. So that might actually help them out a little bit. Week 13 versus Texans. Week 14, at Titans. 15 versus Jets. 16, I believe it's at Raiders. 17 is versus Titans. And then 18, they play the Colts to end the season. Oh boy, this is giving me flashbacks to 2 years ago when Carson Wentz just had to beat the Jaguars, or beat whoever to go into the playoffs, and they end up shitting the bed. I'm pretty sure it was the Jaguars. But yeah, over-under win total, let's check that out real quick. The Jaguars are... Over-under win totals at 8.5. I would probably go under 8.5 as well because I think they're going to be 8-10. Under 8.5 wins. I think this is going to be about 8-10 record team. If anything, 9-8, maybe 10 wins, but I don't think so. Let's go. So we're going through the schedule, and for all these, we will split with the division. I know, just because we'll give some respect, because division games are really, really hard, and there's a chance that, hey, you're going to win one, you're going to lose one sometimes. So I'm just going to give, for the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to split every division game, so they're going to at least have 3 wins. They're going to Miami. Don't know about that. I think the Browns might be able to beat them. Maybe they can beat the... We'll just say they beat... Between the Browns and Bills, we'll say they beat the Browns week 2 just because... I don't even know, though. I don't think so. I generally don't think they... I think they only win one game the first 4 weeks, and they start out 1-3 because I think they lose to the Dolphins. Potentially could beat them, but I don't think they will because it's in Miami. Lose to the Dolphins, lose to the Browns, lose to the Bills. Maybe beat the Texans, but even then I don't see it. But I wouldn't be shocked if they did. Then they got the Colts, and then the Bears. So realistically, and then they got the Patriots. So there's a chance they go 0-7. I'm not saying they will. I definitely think they'll win a game before they go 0-7. If I'd place money on win one game, go 0-7, for sure think they win one game. Now, it's between the Bears, Colts, and Texans. I don't know. We'll just say they lost their first 3 games. They won their next 3, so they're now 3-3. I don't think they beat the Packers. There's 3-4. Don't think they beat the Eagles. There's 3-5. Maybe beat the Vikings. There's 4-5. Don't lose to the Lions, or don't beat the Lions. There's 4-6 going into their bye. Don't beat the Texans. There's 4-7. Beat the Titans 5-7. Don't beat the Jets 5-8. Beat the Raiders 6-8. We'll say they beat the Titans again 7-8, and then say they beat the Colts and they sweep the Colts. There's 8. I'll admit, I struggled a little bit more there to give them 8 wins. I just think they have a bit of a tougher schedule, man. Like, it all depends too. Like, I'm assuming these Jets by this point still have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and they're going to be a tough out. But I mean, man, you're playing teams like they're easy. They're quote unquote easy teams are the Colts, I would say, because in division, Titans, maybe Texans because it's in division as well. But past that, I mean, like Bears, Patriots. I mean, the Packers is a 50-50 game because who the fuck knows what the Packers are going to be next year. I think they're going to be good again, but I don't know how good. I mean, you just look at that, like, Vikings, maybe, yes. Eagles, I don't think so. There's just so many tough games on their schedule. It's going to be I generally think it's going to be a hard season for them. A lot of these teams are a lot better, too. Like, the Vikings took a step down, but the Lions, I think, have edged up a little bit better. The Eagles, I think, are going to get a little bit better. The Colts, I think, have only gotten better. Texans are the same, if not a slight step better with some of the people they've added. I just don't know. I just don't see how the Jaguars are going to get to 8 wins, and the only reason I can see them getting 8 wins is they do some damage in the division, and they aren't able to. And they're able to manage losses a little better. I just think this is going to be a very, very tough year for the Jaguars. I think they got a very tough schedule, and I will not be shocked if, like I said, they don't end up making too much noise. There's another team I don't have too much to bet on. I don't have really. If I was going to bet anything, it would probably be. I guess you can do team specials, so we'll just run through this real quick, see if there's anything I like. Jacksonville to score 1+ touchdown. They got stuff like that. Josh Allen 15+ sacks. I don't think so. Brian Thomas, they did sign him with their draft pick. I do have some interest in him being a good signing for them. By the way, sorry if I do miss this. I will go over. Sorry for missing some of the rookies. I know 100%. I think the Titans end up drafting a tackle, so I totally missed talking about him. I just missed talking about Brian Thomas for the. Yeah, I forgot I had rookies. I don't know why, but so yeah, some of these do have rookies, some of them don't, I guess, because I didn't mention it. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence throw 35 passing touchdowns. Fuck no, I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I don't think are gonna happen with the Jags this year. I think that. 8-10 is still not a horrible season. I don't see them being one of those upper echelon teams that wins 9, 10, 11 games. And I don't see them being so horrible that they only win 4 or 5 games. So I think they're somewhere between 6 and 8. So I think under 8.5 is a good bet for them. So far, we're under 6.5 wins on the Titans, under 8.5 wins on the Jags. Only 2 bets I got, because I won't lie. I think it's also part of my favorite team being in this division that I don't want to take too much on other teams. But so far, yeah, like I said, don't have too much on them. 2 teams left. Next team, Houston Texans. We'll talk about them. 10-7 last year. This game came down. Them and the Colts game came down to the final game of the season for the playoffs. Texans ended up winning because Tyler Goodson for the Colts drops a pass that was kind of thrown behind him by Gardner Minshew. He had to reach out like this, basically. Instead of running he's running a flat route. Should have caught it like that. Literally should have been a catch like this. Go to the first down. Instead, it's a flip back here behind him, try to catch it. We don't need to go over it. Heartbreaking stuff. Still, I still remember me putting my hand in my bed. Literally, it was one of the situations I just went back, put my head in my bed, and literally I was just like this. Wasn't crying or anything. I was just laying there like, motherfucker. Of course. Colts just couldn't get it done. But like I said, 10-7 for the Texans last year. C.J. Stroud had an amazing rookie season. Going to be interesting to see if they have a little bit of a comeback to a sophomore slump. That's where I think we're sophomore slump with C.J. Stroud and them. Sorry, my phone was messing up. I'm trying to pull up their win totals to get that ready. But yeah, like I said, I think this is going to be a really good team this year. I'm not sold on them being. I don't think they're going to be an 11-6 type good team this year. This is all win totals. That sucks. Completely scrolling on the wrong thing. Win totals for Houston is their win totals over 9.5. I think that is perfect because I can see them winning about 10 games. I think this would probably be a 10-win team again. The only issue is I think them and the Colts are going to split, and I don't know how each of these 2 teams are going to do when it comes to playing the other teams in their division. So that's where I find the biggest issues with finding their wins. So if we go to the Houston Texans and go to their schedule. Start off right, man. Week 1 against the Colts. At Indy. Ooh. Oh, shit. That's a W for the Colts. No, week 1 they go to Indy. Week 2 they go back home and play the Bears. Week 3 it's at the Vikings. Week 4 versus Jaguars. 5 it's versus Bills. 6 it's at Patriots. Week 7 it's versus Packers. Week 8 it's Colts. I like that. So Colts get both their games out of the way against Houston in Week 8. That is clutch. Absolutely clutch instead of having to deal with them at the end of the year. Week 9, it's at the Jets. Week 10, it's versus Lions. Week 11, it's at Cowboys. Week 12, it's this is tough. I'm not gonna lie. 12, it's versus Titans. 13, it is at Jaguars. Week 14 bye is beyond. That's pretty clutch to get a bye towards the end. Pretty clutch to get a bye. Sorry, I had to do it. Pretty clutch, though, to get a bye towards the end of the season. Give them a chance to rest up their guys a little bit. Get some healthy guys back, potentially, as well. And then they play the Dolphins week 15 at home. Then they travel to the Chiefs week 16. Play the Ravens week 17. And then week 18, I don't know why that's weird, they go to play the Titans. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. After reading their schedule, I kind of want to say, oh, shit, never mind. Maybe we should go under. But I kind of forgot to share some of the guys they picked up, which, oopsies. Let me go over that real quick. So the Houston Texans got some guys like Danielle Hunter, really awesome pickup. Danico Autry, Azeez Al-Shaair, another huge pickup. Neville Hewitt, Miles Bryant, C.J. Henderson, Derek Barnett, Mario Edwards, Noah Brown. As you notice, I've had a lot of defensive. Tommy Townsend, which is clutch because he was a Super Bowl winning punter with the Chiefs. So I think that's which it might not be an issue, but apparently that Townsend had his lowest mark for punts inside the 20, which also might just be could be a Patrick Mahomes thing, could not be. So that's gonna be something to keep an eye on. Jeff Okudah is another guy that signed. Lonnie Johnson Jr., Dalton Schultz they re-signed. Desmond King they added. Re-signed Kaimi Fairbairn. And Stephon Diggs, another huge addition they got. They got Joe Mixon as well they added to their room. I mean, this team added some dudes, man. Is there anybody else I missed? Like I said, they added Joe Mixon, who's probably going to start at this point. Tank Dell should be returning from injury. This team has only gotten better, in my opinion. The only thing is difference is now, one, not only are they not underdogs anymore and teams will be expecting them, the schedule got a bit harder. I'm not going to lie. That is a tough-ass schedule. Let's just... Shit, I closed the app by accident. Let's go through their schedule real quick. Let's just see how many wins we can find without doing too much research. So Colts, I think, let's say they just beat the Colts just 1-0, beat the Bears 2-0, beat the Vikings 3-0, beat the Jags 4-0. 4-0 potentially start. I think they'll drop it to the Bills at that point if they're 4-0, so 4-1. 5-1 after they beat the Patriots. Potentially 6-1 if they beat the Packers. We'll just say they did. And then lose to the Colts, they're 6-2. Lose to the Jets, they're 6-3. Lose to the Giants, they're 6-4. Beat the Cowboys, they're 7-4. Beat the Titans, there's 8-4. Beat the Jags, there's 9-4. They'll beat the Dolphins, there's 10-4. Lose to the Chiefs, there's 11-4. Lose to the Ravens, there's 11-5. Beat the Titans, there's 12-5. So at best, this team potentially could go 12-5 if they're able to do some magical stuff. If they went 12-5, I don't think the Colts will catch them in this division. I think that it has to be about the 11. If they get over 11 wins, I don't think the Colts beat them because I think the Colts are going to be, at best, probably a 10-11 win team. I don't see them winning 12 games unless I missed a game on their schedule. But for the most part, looking at this Texans team, the only thing that I'm scared of when it comes to them is their schedule. I think that their offense is good, really good. I think C.J. Stroud proves himself. As long as they don't have a sophomore slump, I expect their offense to be just as good, if not slightly better than last year with some of the additions. The defense, I just named a few of the guys they got. I've liked. They also, I think, drafted. Well, they sold their draft pick from last year. Will Anderson, who's doing amazing. I like what I've seen. I like their defense. I think they're going to be really good. I just think this is going to be a really, really good team. They're bringing back. I tend to lean, if I have to pick, I'm going to say over 9.5 wins. I think they're going to get about. I think it's going to be about 9 wins. I think this is a really, really good line. I think that they're going to be anywhere from 9 to 11 wins. They could get over 11 wins. I don't think so. I got to see it. It's just one of those weird things. It's almost like this kind of is how it was for me when Deshaun Watson was on the Texans, where it'd still be like, yes, they have a really good quarterback, but it's like I still remember the Texans of the old, so I just need to see it a little bit more because I saw the Texans old in my mind. That's like no matter. Colts still had tough battles with them, but they were nowhere near as talented as they are now. So the fact they got this much talent now, and DeMeco Ryans is a great coach, I think they've truly got some potential to do some amazing things. When it comes, I don't think I have anything too specific yet for bets that have stuck out to me. If I find any more, I will have a bet episode right before football starts where I go over all my college and NFL futures that I have not talked about. Right now, if you think they have to make or miss the playoffs, if you think the Texans are going to make the playoffs, minus 194, I'm not going to say that's safe, but I think that's not a bad bet at all. And then, yeah, like I said, when it comes to player-wise, I don't have anything too specific. If we go to team specials real quick, Houston Texans have 1 touchdown every game, plus 135. I think that is doable. CJ Stroud, 5+ rushing touchdowns, plus 250 is kind of tempting, I won't lie. But Derek Stingley to have record 5+ interceptions only at plus 430 is absolutely a joke of odds. I think the odds should be way higher. They're acting like interceptions are really easy to come by. There's a chance that this dude just doesn't get thrown out all year, and all of a sudden, boom, you can't get a single interception. I just don't. Them to go 6-0 plus 1,300. I think there is a chance they could do that. Joe Mixon, 15+ rushing touchdown plus 2,100, maybe. I don't know. There's nothing that's really screaming out to my head that I really want to take. I need to reevaluate some of their players as well when it comes to whatever you call it. When it comes to like the betting market and everything, there's some players with the Texans and everything I'm not fully sold on some of the stuff I've seen, like passing yard wise. I'm not going to take anything like that for CJ Stroud because I think the number is way too inflated. There's just a lot to look at, so I'm not fully sold yet. There's nothing that I feel comfortable giving out yet, at least for the Texans. Now, the final team I need to talk about, I do have some bets I'll give out for them because this is the team that I've deep dove the most so far this year, obviously because they're my favorite team. Indianapolis Colts go 9-8 last year. Anthony Richardson missed most of the year after having a shoulder issue, AC joint, I think, was what he got surgery on. He was gone for the whole season after week 4 or 5-ish. With Gardner Minshew, the Colts finished 9-8, had a chance, like I said. The Goodson catch, if he catches it, Colts are in the playoffs. Now, do they do what the Texans did in the first round? I don't know. I think there's a chance they could do maybe a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe do a little bit worse. Who knows? Doesn't matter because they weren't there, and this year they're looking to get back. I think Shane Steichen's a really good coach. I think offensively the Colts are going to have a really good year this year. They have a lot of good signings. Adonai Mitchell's one of them. They got him in the draft. I'm going to go over some other names. They signed Joe Flacco as a backup to Anthony Richardson, which I absolutely love. I think, as much as I love Gardner Minshew, I actually do think Joe Flacco's a slight upgrade to Gardner Minshew. Just maybe not with the athleticism and the youth, but I think with the brains and everything he brings, I think Joe Flacco's going to be a really great quarterback and help Anthony Richardson out a lot. So if he needs to play, I do love that. The Colts re-signed Michael Pittman back. They re-signed Zaire Franklin back. They re-signed Kenny Moore back. Re-signed Julian Blackmon back. Signed Raekwon Davis. Re-signed Grover Stewart back. Re-signed Tyquan Lewis back. I mean, the Colts moves were signing a lot of their guys back, keeping a lot of their guys, and taking another step forward this year with Anthony Richardson. Like I said, I just mentioned Adonai Mitchell. That's who they got in the draft. Joe Flacco was one of their few free agents. They did not get too many free agents. They also have Jason Bean, who they picked up in the draft. I'm very excited to see what they do with him because there was some talk about him potentially being like a hybrid and potentially doing like some receiver stuff or doing some gadgety stuff, which would be very, very fascinating. Think about Jason Bean on the double passes because this is a guy who actually played at Kansas who had... Don't get me wrong, there's times where Jason Bean would piss me the fuck off with what he did. It's like, oh, this Jason Bean guy is not having very many good plays. But there's also some plays that he made where it's like, this kid does have some true talent. I thought he played decently well in the times that he took over for Jaden Daniels. So I'm going to be curious to see if they actually keep him and do some stuff with him. Running back-wise, look for it to be Jonathan Taylor, and then behind him, Tyler Goodson, Evan Hull, Trey Sermon are probably going to be the three. Evan Hull got hurt last year towards the ACL. Actually had some, had a torn MCL. Not ACL, I think, but he showed some promise. But between those three, those are going to be the backups to Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, we talked about Anthony Richardson going to be the starter. Wide receiver-wise, Adonai Mitchell, I think, is their only real addition. Everybody else has either been there or just didn't play last year because of injuries. I don't know. This Colts team has a lot of potential. I thought they did good last year. The biggest thing to come down to this year is the defense. I'm still not fully sold on Gus Bradley as him as a defensive coordinator. Not the biggest fan of Gus Bradley, but he's done. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not going to go on a rant because we're already about 50 minutes into the pod, close to 45 to 50 in. So we're just going to leave it be. But Gus Bradley, I hate to love him. I love to hate him. That's basically the best way to put it. There's some weeks I absolutely love the dude. There's other weeks it's like, we need to fire this dude's ass. But yeah, record-wise, like I said, they went 9-8 last year. We just talked about some of their new additions. Now, we're going to go over their schedule. I do believe they have one of the easier schedules in the NFL when it comes to stuff. So, week 1, they play against the Texans at home. Then they go to the Packers week 2, play against the Bears at home week 3, Steelers at home week 4, travel to Jacksonville week 5, travel to the Titans week 6, play the Dolphins at home week 7, travel to Houston week 8, play against the Vikings week 9, go play at home against Buffalo week 10, travel to the Jets for week 11. Won't lie. legit until just like today, I thought this was a home game for like the last like 3 months. I've been like, man, I need to buy tickets to this game. I need to make sure I find my way to this game. It's a fucking away game. There ain't no chance I'm going to New York for this game. God damn it. Which really sucks. I genuinely was looking forward to going to a Colts home game. Colts home night game. I would have loved to do that, but it doesn't seem like it's happening. Lions, they play against the Lions week 12. They get a week 14 bye, which is really huge if they're able to do something with the season. Play the Patriots week 13 before the bye, too. I think that's going to be awesome. They travel to New England. So there's a real chance, especially if Drake May's not playing by now, get a win going into the bye, assuming the Patriots are as bad as a lot of us are projecting them to be. They travel to Denver week 15. Holy shit, that's giving me PTSD to... What was it, last year? I think it was the year before last year, before Shane Steichen, when they played Denver and it was that 9-6 game, or like the 12-9 game with that might have been last year. Holy shit, I literally am trying to forget that game, so I can't remember if that was last year or year before. Detroit travel, they play Tennessee week 16, travel to the Giants week 17, play the Jags at home week 18. There's a lot of opponents that the Colts have in their schedule. This is the nice part about the Colts finishing third in their division. I believe they finished third behind the Jags, is that. So they're playing a lot of the other third-place teams in the division, so this, I think, will give them the boost. It is one of those situations where it's like, obviously I want them to play better competition, so they play better teams, but me being a realistic fan, hey, you're going to give us an easy win that gives us a chance at the playoffs. Give me the easy win, man, because at the end of the day, win or loss, all you see is the W or L before going to the playoffs. So that's just what I would prefer. So, yeah, like playing the Giants, I think that's an auto win. I think the Giants are going to be horrendous this year. We'll talk about when we break them down. I think the Colts have for me at least, they have two of my projected 3 or 4 worst teams in the NFL on their schedule. So that's something you really like to see. I mean, if you could get all 4, that would be something, but kind of hard to do. Like I said, though, we'll go through the wins real quick. We'll say they beat the Texans at home week 1, start off 1-0. You know what? Because I'm a Colts fan, I'll be optimistic. Beat the Packers, there's 2-0. Beat the Bears, 3-0. Lose to the Steelers, there's 3-1. Beat the Jags, there's 4-1. Beat the Titans, there's 5-1. Lose to the Dolphins, there's 5-2. Lose to the Texans, there's 5-3. Beat the Vikings, there's 6-3. I'll give the Bills the win here. They're 6-4. The Jets, I guess, will get the win, 6-5. Actually, I'll give the Colts that Bills win, but they're going to lose to the Lions, or vice versa, one of those two. So I'll give them a 7-5. 8-5 they beat the Patriots. 9-5 they beat the Broncos. 10 if they beat the Titans. 11 if they beat the Giants. Realistically, so you saw that little rut right there where my brain kind of just got frizzled with the Bills, Jets, Lions. I think that's going to be a tough 3-week gauntlet for them. But like I said, I think they can finish the season off with Denver, Titans, Giants, Jaguars. I think they realistically could win 3, if not 4 of 4. It's just all going to depend on how those... damn near, if you count the bye week as well, and the Patriots game before that, I damn near think they can win their last 5 games. For sure think they can beat the Patriots. Definitely think the Broncos are going to be gettable, because at that point it could be Jarrett Stidham or Bo Nix. And I still think that the Broncos are going to be... We'll talk about it more when I talk about them. They're going to be a little bit of ways away from... being super competitive. I think they can be competitive, but playoff competitive, that's a different level. I think they can beat the Titans because I think they're going to be good. I don't think the Giants are going to be very good at all. So there's 3. Between Patriots, Titans, and Giants, there's 3 mediocre teams. Broncos should be meh. Jaguars, I think, are going to be meh. So if the Colts come out and do what they did last year with Shane Steichen, they have a realistic chance, I think, to win 10 games, especially if Anthony Richardson is as good as he should be. The Colts' schedule this year is way easier than it was last year. I'm not going to say way easier, but it definitely is easier than it was last year. So I think there's a realistic chance that the Colts just got to put shit together. If the Colts are able to put some shit together, Anthony Richardson is able to stay healthy, they have a really good chance to win because Shane Steichen, what he does with his offense is insane. He does some magical work. If we go to the Colts win total, regular season win total, over under at 8.5, I'm going to give me that over because I think they're a minimum an 8-win team. If they don't win more than 8 games, I consider the season a disappointment. By the way, Caleb Williams just inked his rookie deal. Apparently it's 4 years, around $40 million. The deal, we'll see how accurate some of those numbers are, but that's about rough estimations. Just got announced as we're talking some Colts football. So yeah, over 8.5 wins. I think they do get that. I can give you 8 wins right now. We're going to reopen up the cultural schedule, and I'll talk about some bets I'm taking for them. 9 wins for the Colts. Let's see. Texans, Texans, Jags, Titans, I think they split all their division games, so there's at least 3. I think they're going to beat the Titans twice. There's 4. Bears, there's 5. I think they beat the Vikings, there's 6. Patriots, there's 7. Broncos, there's 8. Giants, there's 9. So assuming, I generally think it's also going to come down a little bit of the division too. If they lose, they get swept in any division games, that's going to kill a lot. Because I realistically think they should, at worst, they should split every game. They realistically should not get swept by any team this year with how good they are. And like I said, the biggest thing for the Colts is going to come down to their defense. I like offensively, I think they're going to be able to hang in a lot of games. I think they're going to be able to make a lot happen. Defense has to be able to hold up. Anthony Richardson has to be able to protect himself. Those are going to be the two biggest things for the Colts is Anthony Richardson. Is he healthy all season, and can the Colts defense stop a nosebleed? Last year, one of the worst, I think they were ranked 31st in giving up points. They gave up points to everybody. I mean, it was just a scoring frenzy when you played against the Colts. I already have some Colts bets placed, but if you want to Colts to win the Super Bowl, it's plus 550, 5,500. I mean, like I said, Anthony Richardson, there's some untapped potential. I'm not, like I said, I don't think the Colts are going to win the Super Bowl realistically. I just have the bet placed because I'm a fan. I'm always going to throw 10 to 20 on them every year because on the off chance they actually do make something happen, I would hate for it to be the one time I don't bet on them. But it's all going to come down to Anthony Richardson, man. If Anthony Richardson can stay healthy, the ceiling is the roof, as Michael Jordan says. There's so much potential that could be there. I'm trying to think. I almost want to see if because you can bet on rushing props. I almost want to see if Anthony Richardson, if they have anything up for him that I can look at and take. Anthony Richardson regular season total rushing yards. They have him over 525.5. I like that over if he's healthy. Over 525.5 rush. Because I think he's going to run a decent amount because of how big and how athletic he is. Especially in the goal line, man. You're going to get, I think you're going to get, he could be at the 6-yard line and he'll run in a touchdown, boom. That's quick little 6, I think there's going to be at least 10 to 15 situations like that this year. So there's at least 60 if it's 500 yards on just goal line. That's just goal line touches. Anthony Richardson has the space to where he can rip off speed. He has the speed that he can rip off 30, 40-yard runs. So that's something I'm going to be interested in to check his rushing out. When it comes to Jonathan Taylor, his rushing total is over 1,050.5. I think that might go over as well. I'm personally not going to take it just yet, though. I'm going to hold off a little bit. But then you got some Colts. If I want to go over Colts receiving yards, I'm not going to. That's personally for me. I'm not going to just go over that because I don't know the passing wise. I don't know what I'm going to get from Anthony Richardson just yet. So we're going to hold off just a little bit. If you think Anthony Richardson can get 4,000 passing yards, plus 450, not horrible. I don't think I'm going to take that personally myself. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Latu at plus 430. As a fan of the Colts, I'm probably going to take that. He has tied best odds with Dallas Turner. And then the last thing I wanted to look at was, you obviously have some season awards with Anthony Richardson. I'm not going to look at any of that stuff because I just want him to stay healthy for this full season. And I'll be honest, this is July. I'll give you my Anthony Richardson season award stats. I'll give those to you when I give out my future bets because let's be honest. I'm going to place a bet on him to win potentially the MVP. I'm going to potentially place a bet on him to win Offensive Player of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year, plus 700. Yeah, automatic. Between him and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Nick Chubb. We got some good names right there for Comeback Player of the Year. And then I think, what was the last one I said I was going to look at? We're going to look at team specials real quick. And then I got one, I think I got 2 Colts bets that aren't team specials to give out, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong. Indianapolis Colts, them score 1 plus touchdown every game this year's plus 220. I don't. Latu 10 sacks. I don't know. Anthony Richardson 30 plus passing touchdowns plus 700. I'm curious about the rushing. Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor both to score 10 plus regular season rushing touchdowns each at plus 850. I will be taking that. I just think there's a chance that they both can make some magic happen, honestly. Both 10 plus rush. With how athletic they are, it's just going to depend how much they pass. I think that, with how many touches they're going to get in the goal line, and both those guys are healthy, realistically, the Colts should be able to make that happen. think about with how disgusting Anthony Richardson is with his speed and everything. You got to go watch out for him. You got to watch out for Jonathan Taylor. That opens up everything else for the receivers. You got them to worry about. You got the big tight ends to worry about, like Miley Cox, Jelani Woods. There's a lot that can happen in the goal line that I think when Shane Steichen, there's so much in the goal line that Shane Steichen can cook up that I think AR might be able to do something nasty. And so that's one that I really, really do love. Anthony Richardson, 15-plus rushing touchdowns on the season is plus 1,300. I'm going to place that just because of the odds. That's stupid. I think that's the I'm pretty sure that's like the rookie rushing record, but plus 1,300, and with how much he rushes, I'm going to have to do it. Last two bets I'm going to give out before I end it today. Colts to score 1+ field goal in every regular season game, plus 2,200. Colts to score 1+ rushing touchdown in every regular season game, plus 750, or sorry, plus 7,500. So it's 10 to win, 750. I don't like the rushing touchdown one as much as I like the field goal one, or for them just to score a regular touchdown, but I'm going to take it because last year I think it made it through like 8 weeks of the season before they didn't have a rushing touchdown, so maybe this year's the year. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support. I really do appreciate it. Super, super long one. I don't know if all these are going to be this long, but it'll probably be about this long because there's a lot I got to talk about. Most of these teams I actually did not have a lot of bets for. But yeah, pretty much this is how every breakdown is going to go. We're going to go over each of the divisions, and then like I said, I'll probably talk little college football futures and some stuff I need to give out there. I'll give out all my NFL futures on one episode, so that way you don't have to watch each one. But yeah, that's pretty much the plan for the summer, is just finish cleaning up some of this football stuff, and then, man, 50 days away. So thank you all for watching. Thanks for all the support. I really do appreciate it. I can't wait, man. Football's just right around the corner. We almost there.